be seated. Senators back will now enter. Moving on to point D, roll call verification quorum, Senate Secretary.
Senator D. Ford.
Here.
Senator D. Jackson. Senator Jean Baptiste.
Present.
Senator Miller. Senator Butterfield. Senator Knox. Senator Strong.
Present.
Senator Myers.
Present.
Senator Young.
Present.
Senator Pazier.
Present.
Senator Williams.
Present.
Senator J. Jackson.
Present.
Senator Hall.
Present.
Senator Rios.
Present.
Senator Eden. Senator Osborne.
Present.
Senate Pro Tem Morissette.
Present.
Senate President Ford.
Present.
Senate Secretary, can you please document, all, if possible, can we compile a list of all the previous absences and tardies so we can, get this attendance on track and in order?
No.
Number 1, point E, approval of agenda minutes. The agenda was sent out to you guys. Now I would like to entertain a motion to accept if you guys see nothing else that needs to be added.
So moved.
It'll probably move a second to accept tonight's agenda. Is there on readiness? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion passes. Now, the minutes were also sent out last week. I'll now entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
It'll probably move a second to accept the minutes of last week's meeting. Is there on readiness? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Now moving on to point F, instructional guests and speakers. Is there anyone to my left, your right, and guide that would like to introduce themselves now? All right, seeing none. Anyone to my right, your left, and guide that would like to introduce themselves now? All right, seeing none. Thank you all for coming to the fifth session in the Senate agenda, and I hope you have enjoyed the meeting. All right, now we want to point G, I'm not presenting career reports, NS liaison. All right. LFC.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. I am Jacob Rios. I'm a fourth-year economics student, and I'm also the OFC chairman. The OFC committee, actually, Organization of Finance Committee, met last Tuesday. There hasn't been minutes sent out because they haven't been compiled, I guess, to send out to everyone. We're still waiting from Paige, and she's still looking for the notes right now. But I'm gonna have the same amount of questions that I had in the OFC, I guess, meeting that I'm gonna bring today to the floor. So I look forward to working with everyone today.
Thank you. Any questions for Chairman Rios? Pro Tem.
Chairman Rios, it's the same thing. The budget timeline proposal, we got to get on that and vote on it next week, Monday.
Okay.
Awesome.
Any further questions for Chairman Rios? Already seen. All right, seeing none. E&A.
Good evening, everyone. Last Friday we met and we had interviewed 6 candidates and we took a vote and tallied. So on behalf of Donnie Eating, I'm waiting for him to get back for them to go in front of the student body on Monday.
Any questions for the acting E&A chairwoman? Yes, Pro Tem.
Acting E&A chairwoman Ford. Does your committee have any updates as far as the traffic court nominations, or as far as the traffic court applications? All right. I'll check up on that.
Yes, Senator Hall.
Who it got interviewed? Was it the senator candidate? Yes.
Yes, Pro Tem.
Acting E&A chairwoman, correct me if I'm wrong, but did Senator Eden or did Chairman Eden send out a notification to President Bruno about the Electoral Reform Committee.
Senators in the back may now enter. Any further questions for Acting ENA Chairwoman Senator Ford? Alrighty, seeing none, now move on to Senate Relations. Senator Jackson.
Greetings, everyone. We will be having a meeting this Wednesday from 4 to 5. Please come out if you're interested in, putting in a word for the events that we have coming up. So that'll be it for me.
Any questions for SRC Chairman? Seeing none, IDSC Chair.
And so, good evening, everybody. IDSC, I noticed that a lot of people don't know what it stands for, but it stands for Internal Development Select Committee. So now that we have all the vice chairs for the standing committees, IDSC will be meeting on Mondays at 11 a.m. Also, previously in another meeting, Pro Tem Morset asked me about training for the new senators that will be elected. As of right now, that training is pretty much solidified. I need to hear back from Miss Mary, but it's going to be Saturday, October 21st at 10 a.m. here in the Senate chambers. And like I said before, I'll be expecting all committee chairs to be there to share information with the newly elected senators.
Are there any questions for Senator Hall from the Senate? Yes, Pro Tem.
Why is it so? Why is the training scheduled so late after their election?
Okay, well, basically, this weekend is getting ready for homecoming, coronation, and whatnot. That week is homecoming. That weekend is the homecoming game. And then this next week after that, it's basically the next week after homecoming that we're having a training. Basically so that everything else is done, everybody can be here and focus, because we all know nobody's really trying to listen or pay attention to what's going on when homecoming and whatnot. So it's basically just trying to make sure everybody's focused and everybody can pay attention during it, to be honest.
Follow-up
granted.
And when you get the agenda for the meeting, I'm guessing each chair will give a presentation. Can we throw parliamentary procedure in there somewhere?
I'm sorry?
Can we throw parliamentary? I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. Parliamentary procedures in that training, because I remember last year that was one of my biggest things. As far as it was my first meeting, and all these motions and different rules were going around, and I did not know what was going on.
So Robert's Rules of Order.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Any further questions for IDSC Chairwoman?
I also forgot to mention that Pro Tem Morset did send in his $10 for the Dollar and the Dream initiative, which he made a commitment to the Senate to send in $10 every 2 weeks. So he did send that out just to let y'all know.
All right. Any further questions? Senator in the back may now enter. Jay and our chair.
Good evening, everybody. The Judicial and Rules Committee met this past Friday as well as today, 4:45 in the SGA conference room. On Friday, we entertained title revisions for Titles 4 and 5. We made a decision to give the J branch the chance to make their recommendations first and then send them back to us. Today we finished, we started Title 10. We started Title 10. We did not finish, but we're going to have an emergency meeting later on this week to continue those revisions. Today, Titles 1, 2, and 3 will be on second reading, and I'm going to move to revisit the agenda to add Title 4, just to let you know. So next week, Tuesday, we will be meeting for electronic manipulation, and that is all.
Any questions for the J&I Chairwoman? Yes, Senator Knox.
The SGA conference room as of now, and if it changes, I'll let everybody know.
Any further questions for the J&I Chairwoman? Alrighty, seeing none. Pro Temp.
Greetings, everyone. I am Rashard Morissette, a second-year agriculture business student minoring in economics from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I serve as your Senate President Pro Temp this year. And I also serve as your Senate Executive Committee Chairman for the 2017-2018 academic year. SEC, last week I told everyone SEC would meet on Friday. However, due to other committees having to push back their meetings, I believe we had an audit committee meeting this past Friday, elections and appointments committee meeting, and judicial and rules committee meeting. It was just so much meetings going on. And I foresaw that, so I rescheduled the meeting for October 6th. It'll be right here in the Senate chambers. Everyone is welcome. I'm trying to see if I can get our agendas, sent to the student body and not just being posted online. So hopefully I can get that going through FAMU info. So check your FAMU info. There's very important information coming from there. And for my chairs, just keep in mind that your committee binders should have been started on. You should have started on. Should have started working on your committee binders, and pretty much your committee binders is pretty much just a compilation of all the different bills, different things that you've done in your committee throughout the year, so that the next person who assumes the chair, it's an easy transition period. So I'm going to bring that up in the Senate Executive Committee meeting this Friday at 4 o'clock right here in the Senate chambers. That might actually change. But if anything changes, I'll let everyone know. That's it for SEC.
Any questions for Pro Temp? Alrighty. Seeing none, now moving on to point H, Executive/Judicial Branch report. Is anyone here in the Executive Branch that'd like to come up and give a report? Senators in the back may now enter. Senator Miller. Senator Ford, you can go back.
What's going on, everybody? So just a quick update from our E-Branch report. We did not have a meeting last week because of the football game. However, the week before, we sort of kind of established some stuff for homecoming, solidifying homecoming, so we think that would be pretty decent. We should have a pretty lot of homecoming this year. Another thing for homecoming, we'll actually have a meeting to finalize all events Wednesday at 11. So you all feel free to kind of come out, kind of hear things out. But we'll be solidifying that, and we'll also have a flyer to solidify all of the things also. Another thing, recommendation for our Secretary of Economics and Deputy of Economics and Deputy of Communications. They've already been recommended, and so we already have those people, so we will be seeing those emails come out soon.
All right.
And one thing that we're working on now is the pink tie ball, which is coming around shortly. So we've been working on funding and stuff for the pink tie ball to kind of make sure we can kind of solidify that on the front end. Another thing is we really want to work on marketing, like getting press release and stuff out, so the students actually know what's going on, sending them through iStrike so everybody can kind of read our different press release, and that's just for the E-Branch. I don't know if everyone else is open to that, to just make things more transparent for people so they can kind of know what's going on and stuff of that nature. And I think students, they want to be informed. However, no one really wants to come to a Senate meeting if you want to be with it. So to get those press releases out, I think that's it's important. It's important to kind of get that information out if you want to be 100% real. And so those are marketing tactics. We also want to kind of do small little snippets of whoever comes up and do the E-Branch report, videotape it and kind of put it out on social media so people can really just know and be engaged with really what's going on throughout this academic year. So that's pretty much it on my end. Does anybody have any questions?
You don't have any questions for SJ Vice President? Alrighty.
Questions?
Nope. Oh, by the way, can you swear in the justice?
Yep.
Oh, you just go right there.
And then, so you'll just hold up your, come on, and just repeat after me. It says, say I, and state your name.
I, Daryl Williams,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly
to defend,
defend,
uphold, and abide by the Constitution
abide by the Constitution
and the status of Student Government Association.
Point of order. It's your right hand.
Right. Let's start over. So, I state your name.
I, Daryl Williams,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
to defend,
and
uphold, and abide by the Constitution
the Constitution
and the status of the Student Government Association
and statutes of the Student Association
and the policies of Florida Agricultural and Technical University,
and policies of the Agricultural and Technical University,
and faithfully execute
and execute
the responsibilities of the Student Supreme Court
the responsibilities to the Supreme Court
to the best of my ability.
to
Congratulations.
Is everyone here from the J Branch? I'd like to give a report at this time. Alrighty, seeing none. Point I, Campus Activities Board report. There is none. Point J, SRC Chairman, you now have the floor.
We'll start speakers and lobbyers with Ms. Jaquila London.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jaquila London, a third-year English student from Oviedo, Florida. And an alumnus reached out to me about an annual homecoming fundraiser, and he just wanted me to disseminate this information to the student leader. Basically, what it is you're going to call the alumni and alumni chapters of FAMU and ask for money, because we need money to support FAMU athletics during homecoming. The phone-a-thon is scheduled for Monday, October 9th, but I did inform him that it's the first day of homecoming, so I don't know how many students we're going to be able to get on board during that time, because that's the the dorm step show. Yeah, so they wanted it to be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Monday, but I did tell him that we may not be able to get a lot of students on board. But he wants me to help with getting the student leaders and student organizations to call these people from your cell phone, and they're trying to set up a texting thing where you can text people. But yeah, I told him I'll try my best and I'll tell them, but that's not a good time for current students. But basically, yeah, you just call the people and there's a script. Anyone who's interested, or if you can tell your organizations that you may be in, because everybody can go to the step show. So people who aren't there,
Will.
I hope that
Decorum, please.
I'll be there. But for people who aren't, if you can call during that time, just tell people in your organizations and stuff. But there's a script that you would follow to ask for money, and basically we're trying to get them to commit to donating a certain amount monthly. So for every year at homecoming, there would be, okay, so I donate $20 a month or something like that. So then, of course, it won't be for this homecoming, but we'll be asking for donations now to go toward next year's homecoming. So, and we'll go to the FAMU Foundation. So,
Are there any questions for, okay.
But, I'm trying to read off this. He sent me this a few minutes ago, so I haven't had a chance to really read over it. But from what he did tell me, yeah, they're setting up the phone-a-thon. Like I said, I told him that's not a good time. So hopefully, it was supposed to be Friday, which really isn't a good time either. But I'm not over that part. I'm just here to be, the voice for the current students. But if the time changes, I'll let you all know. I can email this to the senators because I still have y'all.
Ms. London, your time period has expired.
I'm going to take that.
I'll motion to extend the time period by 3 minutes.
Second.
It is probably moved and seconded to extend Ms. London's time by 3 minutes.
Okay, why do we need that much time?
No, we didn't vote yet. All in favor, please signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Who's got the clock?
Okay, I need like 30 more seconds. So, because I don't know that much about it anyway. But if you have any questions, feel free to text me. So I can just ask him because I don't know that much about it. But thank you for your time. I hope that you all can, at least lend a helping hand, or if not, get your other people in your various organizations and thank you. Oh, you have a question? I'll take it down.
Question.
My question would be, I remember you said something about getting a text line set up. If the process is short and sweet, where you just send a text message to so-and-so, such and such, I wouldn't mind bringing it up to the audience who attend the Dorm Step show.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great because you get 4,000 people, texting right then and there. That would be some nice crowd interaction.
That'd be great because I think they're trying to.
The Quorum Center, Butterfield.
They're trying to do something during convocation where they like make an announcement and text out the letter with it. But that's not really a question. But I just tell him that texting is better than the phone.
Yeah. Okay. Because you don't want that. You don't want during step show competition. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I told him, but I'll tell him again. Maybe they'll move back Friday.
All right.
Any more questions for Miss London? All right, see none. Thank you for your time.
I miss being a senator, y'all.
Next we'll have Miss Deshae Wilkerson.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deshae Wilkerson. I currently serve as the junior class vice president for this year, alongside with my president, Rod Wilkins. We're just up here to update you all on what's going on between Campus Activities Board and SGA. Basically, we aren't allowed to do anything because we aren't being funded by SGA. Even if it's something simple as doing community service, our advisor will not sign up on it because we don't have funding. All we're asking for is basically communication and clarification between OSA, Mr. Clem, and SGA as a whole, so we can move forward. We're here just like you guys who are eager to serve our students, the student body, so we can't do that unless, we can't do it because we're always being knocked down. Nothing will be signed off, and if nothing is signed off, we're not able to go on with the many activities that we want to do as CAB or as for like our class. So our asking is for clarification between SGA and CAB.
I have a question. So just for clarity, your advisor will not sign off on you guys doing community service. That's free, correct? Because of funding.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Oh, can I add something?
Mm-hmm.
We also will not have an election for CAB because we're not being funded as well.
Are there any questions at this time? Senator Jackson?
Why won't there be an election?
I can't say. We are having a meeting with Mr. Clem as presidents and vice presidents on October 11th, so he will have a chance to speak to all of us as a whole. So if you guys are available to come, you'll be welcome to come. That's October 11th at 10:30 a.m.
Where's the location of this, or you don't know?
Most likely OSA.
Pro Temp?
I spoke to Mr. Clem this weekend, and what was shared with me was that he's unwilling to sign off on things that require funding. I had no idea it was community service events too, as I don't see why community service would require funds, but that's a little off. He was also uncertain about the documents, seeing that it's in the statutes for a CAB to have an election in the spring semester, and that never took place. And how do you go about fixing that? I just want to let you guys know that it is on JNR's itinerary to review Chapter 800, Campus Activities Board, and as we said, Title 9, Chapter 800, yeah, Campus Activities Board. And as we said in that meeting, we really would like CAB's input on on how they want the documents to be shaped. Yeah, that is news to me.
The time period has expired.
Senator Hall?
I move.
Are we making a motion?
Yeah, well, now I am. Okay, so I moved to extend the time by 3 minutes. Second.
And then probably move to second to extend CAB's extend their time by 3 minutes. Is there on readiness at this time? Seeing none, all please signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Please start the clock. Your 3 minutes starts now. Senator Hall.
Okay, so when you say like community service, so like the community service event that we did, like I think the week before last, was technically not allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, follow up.
Follow up granted.
So that's why he hasn't like signed up on the community service hours.
Oh, no.
Wow. Okay.
Decorum, please.
Okay.
Any further questions at this time?
Decorum, Senator Baptiste.
Yes, Pro Temp.
What time? I'm sorry, I forgot. What time was the meeting on October? I know it's on Wednesday, but what time? 10:30.
Yeah.
Why so early?
Any further questions for these students right now? Senator Butterfield.
Do the people that volunteered know that the hours count?
The quorum, please. Senator Jackson.
What would be you guys' ideal plan of action from now? Like as far as making change.
Sorry?
As far as making change, like what do you suggest we do specifically?
Just give clarification, honestly, because the way he feels is that one year you can't say this, and then the next year you want to change it around. So he's just putting his foot down, basically, and saying, I'm not going to do this because last year was a different story, and now this year it's something else. So we can't do anything, honestly, if it's not signed off.
Yes, Pro Temp.
I feel like it's the ambiguity lies in the documents. I feel like that's playing devil's advocate here. I feel like that's his main point of concern. He doesn't want to sign off on certain things, and then 2 weeks later documents get revised and it says something totally different. Then it's like who actually followed procedures in these different scenarios. But that's a really big issue because you guys are campus activities as far as OSA is concerned. Really gonna get to work on these documents, guys. Title IX, I promise you, it's coming in the next 2 weeks.
Point of inquiry. Does he have a discretionary account?
That's the director. I believe so, but I can double check.
Follow-up.
Follow-up granted.
Per the documents, I understand why he is
Not signing off.
It is my recommendation that you ask him if he has a discretionary account and if he's willing to use some of those funds to fund programs in the meantime until we get money and allocate it to write a bill for you guys.
To my point of information, to my knowledge, he does not have a discretionary. He just have the $40,000 that ASBC funds for activities that he would have to pull out of. And I'm not gonna lie, the man's been doing his job with the $40,000. That's little to nothing, but he's been doing his job with the $40,000. So I doubt he'd be willing to pull money from that. I think the best. Oh,
Pro Temp.
sorry.
Sounds good.
Time's up. Point of information. I think the best way to, address this is by putting CAB back into OSA's budget because OSA is on 100% release. I think we should put CAB back into OSA's budget and just give them more funds to work with. That's just my suggestion.
Yes.
So to my knowledge, we are currently merged with OSA, right?
No.
Or
No.
OSA what?
All right. Thank you guys for your time. Yes, Senator Jean Baptiste.
Their whole purpose of coming up here was just to get some understanding of what they can do Did we give them an answer on that? Because I didn't get an answer on that. Did you understand what I said?
Yes, I did. We'll be working with that because I know, like I said, we do have a meeting with them coming up this week. But Senator Jane, our chairwoman, she said something about discretionary programs because CAB does do programs. Like that's the whole function of CAB is programs. So I just can't find it in my heart that he would tell students who want to do programs that would help relieve stress and pressure off of him. No, but that's me. That's my personal opinion. Jane, SRC, who's next on the?
Next we'll have Mr. Marquise McMillan.
Good evening.
My name is Marquise McMillan. I'm coming on behalf of the Legal Scholars Office at Florida A&M. Bring you greetings from my director, Attorney John Perdue, to let you all know that it's after today, a week away from Law Day. So for the next week, you will see me in multiple of your classes. As to put a pin right there for those students that are looking for community service hours, if you can't get them through OSA, you're more than welcome to come and volunteer in the Legal Scholars Office. We can use all hands to get in, get involved, and get active with helping students who are want to go to law school. So we have a bunch of classrooms to visit, and we'll give you the script, and we can send you out there, and you can help yourself by earning some community service hours. Additionally, continuing on, Law Day is next Tuesday, October the 10th. We have so far, I believe, 75 law schools that are registered and still are registering. Some schools were left off because of the hurricane, so we've extended registration all the way up until the day of the event. We have some top-tier law schools coming, so if you have a fleeting interest in law, we encourage you to come. Freshmen, if you have an interest in law, please come, because the same representatives come every year. And so imagine if you build a rapport and use your networking abilities to connect with these individuals, you, compared to someone else applying for their law school, will have the benefit of knowing someone at that school. Additionally, the night before, on Monday the 9th at 6 p.m. in A117 in Coleman Library, the law schools are going to put on a admissions workshop to tell you how to specifically get into their school. They will tell you the things that people stumble over in the admissions process for their specific school. Also, I want to apologize to CAB. It takes a strong...
Mr. McMillan, your time period has expired.
Senator D. Jackson.
I'm going to extend Mr. McMillan's time additional 2 minutes.
And then probably move to second to extend his time period additional 2 minutes. Is there unreadiness? Seeing none, all please signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Please start the clock. 2 minutes.
As I was saying, I want to apologize. I recommended, ultimately the Senate passed it, that we zero funded CAB to make them come up for special allocations, since they were under student activities and could come for more than one special allocation because of efficiency. Last year, CAB never came and did reports and reported the things that we were looking for, and that was the logic behind it. As we see, sometime intent and what you want to do on paper doesn't always translate conveniently in action. So when Student Senate, the idea was when the Student Senate got funded, you could come up basically for every event process, so that way the Senate could have legislative oversight to ensure that the money was being used specifically for what it was raised for. That's why they were cut. And so I just want you to have that understanding and know how that happened. With that, like I said, we always have opportunities to serve in the Legal Scholars Office. We serve all students of all majors and disciplines. So if you need any community service hours, we always have opportunities to serve. If there aren't any questions, I'm going to leave this with SRC, since you are all the student, basically marketing part of the Senate, to make sure that those get out.
Any questions for Mr. McMillan? All right. Yes, Senator Knox.
Okay, well, the first thing, law schools typically don't ask for your resume at these events, but you should always update your resume. Please don't come in there dressed like who done it and why. People are, scared to be honest and blunt with people. First impressions are lasting. So please come in there and dress with some class, and especially if you're a senior and you are trying to apply to these schools, how you present yourself to them is how they will remember you. So dress appropriately. Research your schools. that you want to go to. Because some schools, maybe for instance, I researched Northwestern because I'm attempting to go there next year because they offer a fund. If you get into the PhD program, they will pay for your law degree. So you want to look and research the schools that you are interested in going to. And then come with, with
Mr. McMillan, your time period has expired.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Point of inquiry.
Yes.
How do we the volunteer hours or like to work with the scholars office? We just
come to 312 Tucker Hall,
Okay.
and I have some cards, so it might need some. We just come to 312 Tucker Hall.
So in the back, my not chair. Thank you.
Up next, we'll have Mr. Brian Smith.
Good afternoon or good evening, I believe. My name is Brian Smith, and I serve as the University Ombudsman, and I also am the interim Associate Vice President of Student Affairs. And in that capacity, I'm providing oversight over joint operations of student government in the absence of the Director of Student. I'm here today to talk to you, to formally introduce myself to many of you, and to talk about a few items, goals that I have for the office, and also to take any questions. I was had a good discussion with some senators last week, and we kind of thought it would be important that some of these questions that were issues that were broached be briefly addressed in front of the full body, just so everyone can have an understanding. Hopefully, have their questions that they may have about some issues addressed. Now, I've been here at FAMU since 2013. I initially came in as a special assistant to the president. I was under Dr. Robinson. Prior to that, I guess let me back up a little bit. I actually served as a graduate senator here at FAMU from 97 to 98. 1997, 1990. I think some of y'all may have been born, maybe not. May have been early in your lives. Prior to that, I was here for a master's in applied social science, public management as a concentration. I was a political science major at North Carolina A&T prior to coming here. And after I finished FAMU, I attended John Marshall Law School in Atlanta. Prosecuted misdemeanors for 3 years after leaving law school. Then I got into compliance work and some family laws, kind of custom family law on the side. But I got into a lot of compliance work, and I actually wound up chairing the ethics board for DeKalb County, Georgia, which is probably, I think, the third largest municipality in the state of Georgia. So once I've been here, I also did a lot of mediation prior to attending here, so that kind of gave me my link for compliance. My main issues, and not really issues, but my main goals, while I'll be helping you all until we find a more permanent directive, would be to focus on accessibility, accountability, and to get you all thinking about affordability. With that accessibility, I really want to see you, or see this joint ops, as well as all branches, become more accessible to the students. Get out of the building, actually serve the students, and not saying that you all are in this particular grouping, but don't serve yourselves as much. From everyone that I've met, see some bright minds. I've met some nice students so far in this short time period, but I think you're doing the university a disservice by keeping all that to yourselves. I don't see you getting out as much as you probably. Accountability. When I took over the office, the first thing I was handed was an audit report from Audit and Compliance, and it had 21 findings. And some of that went back about 2.5 years. But there were some things that were very simple, not maintaining proper timesheets, purchase orders after an event, not including students outside.
Mr. Smith, your time period has expired.
Yes, Senator Rios.
I motion to extend his time indefinitely.
Second.
I'll probably move to extend his time indefinitely. Is there any readiness at this time? Seeing none, all please signify by sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
All right, thank
You may begin.
And so that's one thing we want to address. It's not just a joint ops or it's not just a student government issue. That's an issue throughout the campus, accountability. So we want to make sure that we set the tone early, and you can hopefully continue some of that in your life's pursuits. The next thing is when I said affordability, I really want you all to start thinking about your budgets. Can you really afford to do some things? Or thinking about your spending. Can you really afford to do this? Is there a good justification for it? And if you keep those three things in mind, again, accessibility, affordability, and accountability, I think you will be setting this university on a very good path as far as student government. Now that I think about it, I had a little impromptu theme using the letter A. So I guess to wrap that up, I would say I want you all to view me as an advocate, not an adversary. I'm not here against you. I don't take things personally. You all ask questions. In my mind, you have a legitimate right to ask the question. If I can't answer the questions, then that's the situation that needs to be addressed, and you all should follow up. So I don't mind going. If y'all want to go toe to toe about things, if you're upset about an issue, get it out. I'd rather handle it here. You all get clarity on whatever issues or questions you may have, and then we move on from it. But at least you will have a true understanding. I don't take it personally. It's your money, it's your document, or your documents. And I'm here, again, just to try to advocate for you and to serve you in the capacity that I'm here to serve. I also have to represent myself as a professional, and I still represent FAMU. So those would be my loyalties, students, and FAMU. So that's what I have concerning that. I understand there's some issues or some questions that you may have as it relates to expenses or homecoming or proper procedures for various things in the short time period that we've been back in. So I'm here to answer that.
Senator Miller?
Well, since you said homecoming, it just came to me. Okay, so since you just said you were using our money, like when you guys spent the money, how come at least Senate didn't know what the money was being spent on?
Okay.
Yeah, who signed off on it too?
Okay. This summer, I tried to keep the Senate president and the student body president abreast of everything that was going on. I will, I guess, take the blame for not thinking to include or do a group this serve. I guess I could have gotten a list of all of the senators who had already been sworn in or voted on and included you all in it so everyone could be aware of what was going on. But I made an assumption that the leadership would be communicating with the group that they represent. So that's how that. So I guess I would take the blame for that. For not for thinking I needed to just talk to the branch heads, the two branch heads that we had at the time, instead of looking at you all individually.
Granted.
So are you telling me my Senate president signed whatever he needed to sign for this money to be spent? And the SGA president as well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And I mean, if you'd like to see a copy of it with their signatures, I can make sure that's provided.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Jay Jackson.
So I have two questions. If you signed the documents, why weren't you aware of that? Beyond that, I'm aware that Mr. Smith had a meeting with OFC. I never received minutes for that. So I guess we can go with you first.
Okay. I received the document, I believe, 2 weeks ago, about homecoming. The quorum, please. I received a document about homecoming 2 weeks ago. So that's all I can really honestly say about that, because when we were gone for the summer, remember there's a gap between the summer semester and fall semester. I wasn't, contacted about, I guess, any of the homecoming stuff. So when I got it, I thought, everything was on the up and up, and that is why I signed. All right, now your turn.
What you mean by, like, you still didn't, like, address the communication part because we never knew about it. Even though you assumed it was on the up and up, like, we had no play into, like, deciding what goes on. That's what we're here for with the legislative branch.
Is there any?
According to our documents, as Senate President, I, myself, and the SGA President signed off on all homecoming entertainment expenditures.
On the information, he's just trying to figure out like why. Basically, like in layman's terms, he's just trying to ask like why wasn't us as the Senate body like notified that not just you, but like that it was signed off on this on the amount spent, because basically for the past few meetings we've been out here like why the but like you know what I'm saying like
okay,
basically y'all both saying the same thing, like y'all just overlooked both parties, like you overlooked the party and you overlooked the party. So like that's what's the whole confusion. That's why everybody's in uproar right now, because nobody's communicating.
Can I interject a little on that aspect? I would say to Mr. Ford's word defense, but it's might be a little problem. Some of these negotiations, when it comes to contracts or when it gets into the procurement office or when the general counsel had to sign off on it, it probably took about 2 or 3 weeks maybe. And then you had the storm that last week when we thought it was going to be done. So these references would be made, but we knew it wasn't burnt. It was really being negotiated, different price points, just looking at all the things that go negotiate these type price points. So he did get it. I guess according to this around, this would have been around I think the week after, around September 8th or 9th or something like that.
Do you mind if we see those documents?
And also about the minutes of the meeting. What the meeting?
One of my fellow classmates has my USB and I haven't had a chance to get it back, but I've done them all.
So you typed the minutes or you
typed them.
Senator Hall.
Okay, so this is my question is for you, Director Smith. So, in the past couple meetings, we've been talking about, I believe we had Chief of Staff Smith come up on the executive branch report, and we asked about the expenditures on some of the things for homecoming. Like, apparently there wasn't enough money for certain events to take place, and then it was said to us that you would be taking money from discretionary accounts to make sure said events happen. And I don't know about any of the other senators, but I haven't heard anything back from that. Like, nothing has been communicated to me. So, like, are said events taking place, or did said transactions take place? Like, because we're basically the basic issue is that we feel like we're not being communicated to, and we were elected to represent our constituents. And so when they come up to us and ask us these questions about events, and we looking like we don't know, it makes not only us look bad, but it makes student government look bad as well.
Okay. As far as notifications, there were several meetings throughout the summer and through August. We had a couple in this room. I do know notifications went out. And as far as an account, I don't believe that I would have to use any funds from that because to date, I went and talked to the budget office, and they're doing the release of the final money that you all had, the last 20% for homecoming. So I did get that negotiated today. And so, and in addition to that, you've already, from ticket sales, you've already generated 20, as of Thursday night, $24,600 something. And that is being put into a foundation account for you all, which could be transferred later. But that's not going to really have to be used for homecoming because the release is coming. And we will be under budget from what you all, the initial $291,000 that you all budgeted for homecoming will be under budget for all of the events. We're currently supporting, where you all are supporting, the coordination, the Housing Step Show, comedy show, the concert on Wednesday, Taste of a Rattler, the Rip the Runway / Blockboard party. That's what you all are, and I think that's what you all had on your initial schedule. So nothing was altered about that. Nothing changed. I would say poor communication probably led to the skepticism. But in my mind, I'm pretty open door. Anybody who stops by there and talks to me, they get very honest answers about any and everything. I don't have any reason to hide it. I initially earmarked $40,000 out of some of the funds that were going to be wiped at the end of last fiscal year. I did that because I personally wanted to give a legal aid clinic for FAMU students. And after talking with UCF's legal aid clinic and UF's, they thought that was a good starting point for the research for it and the initial setup. It wouldn't, of course, include an attorney or anything like that. So I put that to the side just in case. So and those were A&S funds. So I had in my mind, understanding if you all wanted a good concert, that sometimes on the front end, it was going to seem a little top-heavy. And I thought, okay, if anything has to get paid for that we don't anticipate, I'll pull from that $40,000 because I really was going to try to wait through homecoming, and if I didn't have to go into it, then bring that to you all as a possible idea. I brought it to some people over the summer just talking about it, what I envisioned, especially with the type of issues we have on campus. So that's where that money was coming from. From sitting in the meeting last week, I guess there was some confusion. Since I serve as the university ombudsman, I have a budget there. Also, I facilitate our hazing prevention. I have a budget there. Those are E&G funds. I can't touch that for student activity. Now sometimes I've seen around campus people touch everything. I seen last year, and I am a straight shooter, so I'm gonna be honest. Some of the questions seemed a little bit disingenuous to me because you all let student health pay for your sound system last year, and there was no kind of questioning about it, no scrutiny. Now I wasn't gonna do that, but y'all did that last year, So asking questions about
we did.
Yeah, you did.
I never got a receipt.
Yeah. So so for everything, for all your stages, all your concerts, your Rip Runway, all that. And so my thing is, I'm coming from a good and honest place, really just trying to help you all out. I'm accustomed to big bash homecomings, based on where I went to school. So I remember when FAMU had big bash homecomings. So I may have let my thoughts of the glory years at FAMU get in the way of kind of trying to nudge forward with this concert. But I wouldn't get too much scrutiny around campus with the lineup and with the ticket sales and the fact that it's back on campus. So yes, it was top heavy on the front end, but I was prepared to pay for it, and it was $30,000 over. I said, like I told you, I had $40,000. I mean, already made 26,000 on the ticket sales. So your overage, I'm 4,000. That was Thursday. I'm pretty confident right now that you got your overage just from ticket sales. So that, in my mind, that's a non-factor. Now I've negotiated to get you your release this week, as in Wednesday morning, an additional $58,000. So it's almost incredulous that you are, in my opinion, that you would really be scrutinizing it as much. But that's neither here nor there, and you have a right to do it. So I can't get upset about that. But
granted.
Okay.
What was the question? Oh, okay, yeah. Follow up. Follow up.
Granted, yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify, like, from my end, there is no scrutiny going on. I just want to be communicated to. That's my biggest thing. Like, thank you for coming to clarify everything for me and to clarify everything for the student body, because I wasn't aware. So I do want to say thank you for coming to communicate that to us. It all makes sense for me now. Some stuff you did say I had never heard of, but thank you for taking the time to come down here and explain that to us. Second question, last question. The last meeting, it was said that the gospel concert is up in the air, like it's in the works. Like, is that a thing? I just want to know.
it was up in the air. Well, let me back up the whole gospel thing. The gospel choir, which I don't understand how a gospel choir can, this was some personal back and forth I had with the university. How can a gospel choir, to me, a club and organization, dictate the scheduling and artists and dates that you'll have, that they'll have a concert using Senate allocated funds? I don't understand that. I mean, I don't understand. So they initially wanted an artist that was $15,000. They was being discussed, but then the artist they wanted had some issues that I think would have been bad PR for FAMU. They had been convicted of spousal abuse and for child abuse. So I didn't think that was a good. So I personally didn't think that was good, and I asked different people what they thought about it, different students, and so that was what. Now, as far as the gospel choir, and the gospel show, I had some discussions with again branch leadership, Mr. Ford included. It was his contention that if they can't do it on the day that we want it, doesn't need to happen. And he looked at the finances of it. And honestly, I kind of agreed with him. Financially, it didn't seem sound to have a gospel show paying over $15,000 in Lee Hall where you can't generate any funds. It only seats 1,500 people, and there's no way that you can do that. Now, in the interim, it seems as if they want to go with local talent and use other choirs, which would ultimately have a cost around $2,000 to $3,000, which could be covered for talent based on what you have in your budget. So the answer to your question would be yes, it will be taking place, but at a much lower cost.
So there is a gospel concert.
Right, and that's Saturday again. They wanted Saturday. I tried to ask them why won't they do Sundays like most other places. Most schools either do it the Sunday kicking off the homecoming or the Sunday at the end where you still have alums in town, and they make it like a big thing that's the last thing you do before you hit the streets, and you take the good work with you out into the streets. That would be my suggestion for next year. Blow it out, put it in Lawson, get sponsors, get a real artist, make some money off of it, and really market it to all the local and surrounding area churches and do it. But again, short answer, yes, in Lee Hall Saturday. I think it's 7 o'clock. And it'd just be them and like some other local talent. But at no cost to anyone for that.
Thank you for answering.
It'll be going in this order: Senator Rios, then Senator Ford, Miller, Knox, J. Jackson, and Strong.
Perfect. Thank you. So, appreciate you coming here. That definitely means a lot. to the whole Senate and OSU. We just wanted to know. I definitely want to follow up with you about the final invoices for homecoming. Did you bring those to the meeting today?
I didn't bring them to the meeting because we still have some more. What I can do is I'll put them, like we just received some more today, like with Piston Sounds, I had to renegotiate. I thought they weren't charging for some things and we were using them all week. So we renegotiated for a lower cost. And then we had to add a meeting with Lieutenant Audrey Alexander to get the final cost on security needs for the week tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So I can present you all of those invoices at that.
So you follow
up, granted.
So you have a few of the invoices? Because I know you said you had some of them.
Yeah, I have. Let me.
Is there any way you can?
I would have to go upstairs.
Because I know we asked for that.
Yeah, I honestly forgot to bring those.
That's
They're in
fine.
my office though.
Okay.
I brought like some of the.
Yeah. Regarding this sheet, I feel like it's kind of like if you just like look with the naked eye, you can definitely tell there's something sketchy about this paper with the signatures. I mean, there's no line underneath the names, and it's just kind of there's no dates. Like every other name and signature has a date.
Well, I'm actually gonna take a little personal offense to that.
No, I mean,
I'm just being honest.
You don't have to take it.
No, I'm just saying.
We're definitely acting in a professional manner. But even my fellow colleague agrees. I mean, if everyone wants to see it, I can pass this around.
Well, first ask him if he signed it. If it's sketchy.
I'm not saying.
Why did you sign something with your name not under it? Is that how you signed it?
Yes, this is legitimate. This is how this is how most of our documents are when I sign them on invoices like this.
Let me explain that. They weren't even needed or necessary because they can't negotiate any contract. So the only names I needed, General Counsel and William Hudson and Larry Ross. Covering myself based on my professional experiences, I said, let me take it to the branch heads so they would have knowledge of what's going on. I extended that courtesy on my own, not having to do it. So it was not sketchy at all. It was really something I just chose to do to get an additional knowledge base. So I don't understand what would be sketchy. Now, I can show you other examples of when...
Senator Jean-Baptiste, please take IDSC.
Where at this university, I've noticed that sometimes you're just signing as an acknowledgement. That didn't have to be memorialized by them. So I just did that again for additional. And I can make copies if you like, or it's on record. But,
Yeah,
say something sketchy.